a mountain. Give me strength to carry on. Let me gaze once more upon my homeland, where I belong, in Oregon.
My name is Clarke Balcom. I'm an attorney here in Oregon. Offices in Portland, Oregon.
My name is Chris Flam. I'm the Executive Director of Clarke Balcom Law, and we're a law firm that's dedicated to consumers and more precisely to debt.
Our focus is on debt and helping homeowners save their homes.
So we handle all the different areas of debt, whether it's bankruptcy, debt negotiations,
IRS, Oregon Department of Revenue,
foreclosure, mortgage issues,
property taxes,
and in some cases Fair Debt Collection Practice Act situations where a third-party debt collector is harassing one of our clients.
as well as more normal debts with Citibank, Chase, Bank of America, etc., etc.
You're not alone. The same thing is probably happening across the street to your neighbors. Bankruptcy filings are way up, foreclosures are way up. If you think that you are isolated, that you are over here and you stand alone and you're worried and you're embarrassed, you shouldn't be. You don't stand alone. People throughout your church or synagogue are experiencing the problem as well.
The statistics are in for Oregon home foreclosures for the month of May. There was a dramatic spike last month after a drop in foreclosures in April.
No matter what they come up with, I've probably heard worse.
Yeah, that hasn't been our experience, that they're deadbeats. Most of our clients are people who worked really hard, and they are astonished to find themselves in this situation. I think what I would say to them most strongly is, don't wait until the last minute, because that makes it a lot rougher for us or any other attorney to help somebody.
They shouldn't be embarrassed to talk to an attorney and find out what might be some alternatives for them, I think, is the key information. And many times I've sat down with people for an hour or more and gotten lots of information and then advised them on things. And there's nothing for me to do, but at least then they know. And I can give them some tips, a little guidance, wish them luck. They're appreciative. It's at least then they know what may or may not be an option for them.
People are worried. I mean, most people have really worked hard their whole lives to pay their debts, to be on time, to do the right thing, to honor their commitments. They get into a situation like this and they feel wretched and they don't want anyone to know about it, and I can understand those emotions.
So we found some things we can do successfully for some homeowners, depending on the situation. My approach is to be brutally honest and say, that's not going to work, this may work, this is more likely to work, depending on their situation. Every homeowner is different, every client, I think, is different.
It's hiding.
I want to say this, I totally understand the emotions and the feeling of the homeowner. Let's sue these guys. There's so many. I completely understand that. Let's sue them. It sometimes can put the homeowner in a worse situation instead of better, and complicate the matters, whereas it may have been much more easily solved without doing that. If you're filing a lawsuit, that's like declaring war, and there may have been some cooperation short of that, and now they'll say, no, sorry, it's in litigation. I can't talk to you. One of the saddest things I see is people have used all their resources, all their money, they've cashed out their 401k, trying to hold on to a house that's underwater, trying to keep the credit cards paid maybe also, and now they have nothing, and they've already burnt through, in some cases, just insane amounts of what could have been retirement or cushion money, and they could have, moved on to a better life, and that opportunity is gone and all the money's gone. It's a very difficult road to hoe. It can be very expensive and take a lot of time. It could take years. My job is to try to put the client in a better situation. If I can't do that, I won't take the case. Fortunately, Oregon has a very aggressive attorney general, and they've been looking out after consumer issues, but they can't catch everybody, and many times the damage is done, the perpetrator is left.
You know, they should find someone local, someone they can actually talk to, someone they can see face to face, and they should probably talk to a few people.
Ask them if they've run into that situation and what works and what doesn't, and based on that, make a logical decision.
Sometimes I think potential clients get frustrated with us because we ask for a lot of information up front. We do that because without that, you can't make an intelligent assessment. We're actually not in the business of taking somebody's money for a product that we know we can't possibly get or sell. And we'll turn people away.
Unfortunately, some people can sound very convincing, and they say, yeah, we're in all 50 states or whatever, and how can they be?
If somebody's going to ask you 3 questions and then tell you, I know this about your case and I can do this for you and no problem and this is the amount of money I need, run. It's not true.
Quiet title it's a legal action. It's in state court, it's not federal. And its purpose is to determine who is the rightful owner of property and to address any issues to determine that. In the foreclosure realm, it's not usually an appropriate tool. It can't be used as some tool used willy-nilly to get a free house. It's not going to work for that. Eventually, a judge would decide who is the rightful owner or owners, and that's the purpose of it. But you've got to have some basis for arguing that some party is or is not a rightful owner. You've got to have some legal basis for that. It's not a panacea, it's not a magic bullet. In Oregon and a number of other states allow for what's called non-judicial foreclosure procedures. It's where they advertise a sale, they give notice of it, and they just have a sale. There's no case filed in court, which is why it's called non-judicial. It's sometimes called advertisement and sale. Essentially, they schedule it, they advertise it, they give notice to everybody that they're supposed to, the homeowner, people that live there, and they have to give notice at least 120 days out, and then they sell the house. It's been simple and cheap since 1959 in Oregon. The other approach to foreclosure, which is judicial foreclosure, there's a case filed in court. What I see happening is when a particular procedure becomes too onerous, certain entities will switch to the other procedure, and that's exactly what's happening. I see servicers and the trustees and the owners of trust deeds foreclosing instead by judicial foreclosure, filing suits, serving people 30 days to answer. One could argue that that may be better or worse in certain respects, but still many parts of the new law do not apply to the judicial foreclosure, so we see that sea change occurring. It's a huge shift. You know, I am very appreciative and thankful to many state legislators who worked hard to get some improvement and some safeguards built into the law, but they'll be the first to tell you that they did what they could, and something that would bring about a larger, more complete improvement or change has not been possible yet. We hope that it will be, but Chapter 7 is faster, it's simpler if people can walk away from things and in the right situation, based on assets, income, other things like that. But it seldom is a solution to a mortgage situation. It does not save a house, and it does not stop a foreclosure for very long. It can stop at the automatic stay that I mentioned. It can stop it momentarily. But Chapter 13 is the one that's designed to give the debtor up to 5 years to get certain payments caught up, get rid of other debts, reorganize certain other debts in various ways. Of course, there's lots of detailed rules on this. Many times I'll have people come in asking about bankruptcy. I'll say, no, it's having asked them many nosy questions, then I'll say it's really not your best option. And I tell them why, with details, but then really all they need to do is somehow address this mortgage situation, which can be addressed by modifying the loans. Maybe they only have a first and they only have one problem. Well, let's fix that problem, and let's not use a sledgehammer if a ball-peen hammer works, or or a small screwdriver in some cases. You can tweak it a little bit and then they're fine. Everybody's good. I would get precise numbers. How much is your mortgage? What's your income? Some people know these things, others don't. And then through one means or another, find some lawyers that focus on those areas that you want to achieve some resolution in. Now, people have different purposes. Sometimes I sit down, I go, well, good, I can save your house, I can, based on your situation, but what do you want to do? Sometimes their purpose is to just get out of that mess, but do so in a reasonable manner, that they don't feel degraded. That's a respectable purpose. You don't have to keep your house.
If you're going to go see multiple attorneys and get multiple opinions, make sure that they all are actually knowledgeable in the area that they're advising about. Because we do sometimes have people who have come to us or gone to someone else, and they're very different scenarios. You can go for bankruptcy, you can go to a volume filer who basically doesn't charge a lot and goes whap, 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 bankruptcy after bankruptcy. Or you can go to a place that takes the time to really determine in an individual situation what can happen. And either choice is fine. For some people, they don't need an in-depth analysis. A volume filer would be fine. But if you have a complex question and you go to an attorney who doesn't handle complex matters, you're going to get a simple answer that may not be the right answer, and you're going to get into trouble.
Individuals are like snowflakes. Guys that come in and say, well, my brother-in-law did this and that worked. Well, that's great, but you have a different situation.
It really depends on what they need.
You need a house, you need a home, you're not alone.
So the very first thing we do, however it occurs, is we gather a lot of information. And if it looks like an area we can't help them in, we'll refer them to someone else, or we'll refer them to the bar.
What would work for client A may not work at all for client B. And so we have to roll up our sleeves, look at the situation, and then advise them on what's going to work and what's not going to work.
If it looks like it's an area that we can help them in, we'll set up a time for them to come in and have a consultation with the attorney. The attorney gets more information. And at that point, we have a pretty good idea, what can we do for you? The options are laid out, and then we arm them with information, and they make their own decisions about what they're going to do.
I need to find out two things from every client. What do they need and want? And what are their practical situation factors? What do they make? What are their assets? What can they do and what do they want to do?
You do feel pretty good helping somebody through a bad situation, particularly somebody who wants the help, appreciates the help, doesn't fight the help, comes out the other side and does well. That's a really good feeling. I think too, for attorneys, and I know for myself, the solving of a complex problem is an interesting thing to do. It's how do you take this set of factors and resolve them so you get this set of factors, which is the set of factors that you want for your client. That has its own reward, the understanding of how something works and making it work. And it's a great group here. We're 10 people strong, we get along well, we're united, and there's sufficient exchange of important communication. When clients come into this practice, they will from time to time hear laughter from the back. I think we're a somewhat non-traditional law firm in that we figure that just like our clients, we have lives. People have lives. I think the bottom line is people have lives. They want to live those lives decently. They don't want to feel harassed, pushed, crowded, stupid, embarrassed. Nobody wants that. And so we try to treat clients like we would treat ourselves, which is, let's help you get through this.
When you take me by the hand, we will reach the promised land on the bright side of
today.